Saw dudes, currently I am banned on Warframe. I don't know what the problem is, but it will be hashed out soon enough. Anyway, we're going to try out something new in the meantime, Zenless Zone 0. Today we're going to decide whether you should pull for Caesar King or Burnice White. In an ideal world, you would want to pull for both, but since some of us need to eat and pay rent, we can't do that. We're going to go through all the factors you want to consider before making a choice. Please use the timestamps in the description to navigate the video as you need. Let's get started. Let's start with the leader of the Sons of Caledon, Caesar King. She is the first limited S-rank defense character in the game and is making waves for being one of the best universal supports. Her value comes from her unrivaled flexibility, as she can fit into just about any team comp and provide immense buffs and safety. Despite being so strong, she isn't overly complex, so newer players can use her to her full potential without reading an essay. Let's get into the specifics. Caesar's core passive is Barrier of Resilience, buffing the entire team with a Radiant Aegis shield equal to 1400% of Caesar's base attack plus 1400 points. This can be activated off an EX special attack, chain attack, ultimate, or through triggering the EX special attack overpowered shield bash through retaliation. The shield lasts for 90 seconds and is equipped by the on-field character with its value shared among the entire team. Any single instance of damage cannot exceed the shield value. While Radiant Aegis is active, the shield bearer's anti-interrupt level is increased and their attack is increased by 1000. After Radiant Aegis expires, the buff remains active for an additional 5 seconds. The core passive alone greatly enhances the whole team's survivability and makes fighting tough enemies much easier, especially if you aren't the best at switching characters or dodging. Since the shield switches to the on-field character, you can easily tank a couple of hits. The added value comes from blocking excessive damage upon breaking and the 1000 attack buff. This buff increases damage output for everyone and will be utilized well by any main DPS. Her additional ability is activated when another character in your squad can activate Defensive Assist or is from the Sons of Caledon faction. When Caesar activates Perfect Block, Retaliation, Defensive Assist, or Basic Attack Dead End, she applies a debuff effect to enemies within a 7-meter radius, increasing the damage they take from all teammates by 25% for 30 seconds. This increases the damage output for the whole team once more and further cements her as a Tier 0 support character. Now let's get to Caesar's bread and butter, her assist point mechanic. Usually, you use assist points to parry enemy attacks when the gold icon appears. However, Caesar can consume these assist points by holding down her basic attack to send out her shield and group enemies together. This is great for speedrunning levels with lots of adds and makes life a whole lot easier for characters who struggle to transition from enemy to enemy. Her EX special is Parry Counter, where she strikes forward with the shield followed by a powerful thrust, dealing massive physical damage. If Caesar is hit by an enemy at the beginning of the skill activation or an interrupt is triggered with the shield strike, it will trigger Perfect Block, negating all incoming damage once and countering with a shield bash. After triggering a Perfect Block, press the special attack button to activate EX special attack overpowered shield bash. This ability only costs 40 energy to activate, making it the lowest cost EX special in the game and simultaneously one of the most useful since it activates a slew of buffs and applies a lot of daze to the target in question. It's also important to keep in mind that when Caesar triggers a Perfect Block, Retaliation, or Defensive Assist, her impact is increased by 20% for 3 seconds. Again, this just adds more utility to her kit, making her a burst stunner rather than a full stun focused character. The best teams for Caesar are all over the place. The thing is, these are just teams that come to mind, and there are likely teams that are just as good, if not better. First, we have Burning Rat King with Burnice, Caesar, and Jane Doe. This is an anomaly disorder team with the bulk of the damage coming from Burnice's Scorch application and Jane's Assault procs. Caesar acts as a buffer and makes the game look much smoother by providing an attack buff and anti-interrupt shields. Then we have Rat King Cat with Caesar, Jane Doe, and Seth. In this comp, Caesar and Seth provide Jane with unrivaled safety and attack buffs. Seth provides another type of shield and increases Jane's anomaly proficiency. Finally, we have Air It Out with Zhu Yuan, Qingyi, and Caesar. This is a standard stun comp. Zhu Yuan stacks up enhanced shot shells, Qingyi is a main daze applicator, and Caesar creates a shield and can buff the team. Before damage rotation, switch to Caesar to get the buffs and start the chain attack cascade, ending with Zhu Yuan for the ulti. The only downside for Caesar is that she is a jack of all trades and a master of none. Personally, I don't find this to be a downside since generalists typically beat specialists since they can apply themselves to more situations and find more success. However, it is worth noting since investing in Caesar means that premium teams down the line may not favor her as much as other characters. That isn't to say that she will be power crept, it just means specialized characters might be better on certain team comps. For casual players who just want someone who is always good, it's hard to go wrong with Caesar King.
What is that, bro?
Now let's cover Burnice, my personal favorite. She is the first limited S-rank anomaly fire character in the game and has quite a few people loving her, despite her gameplay being locked behind only one mission in the newest story edition. We don't have the full details of her kit in the game yet, so naturally some of the numbers may be a bit off. She is a bit more complex than Caesar, but I'll try to keep it short and sweet. Burnice's core passive is Nitro Fuel Cocktail. When Burnice expends energy, she accumulates heat, up to a maximum of 100. She gains 1.4 heat for each 1 point of energy spent. At 50 heat, she enters the Nitro Fuel Cocktail state until all heat is expended. On entering the battlefield, Burnice instantly accumulates 100 heat. While in the Nitro Fuel Cocktail state, when Burnice hits an enemy with a basic attack, Mixed Flame Blend, EX Special Attack, Chain Attack, or Ultimate, she applies a Scorched effect to the target until she exits the Nitro Fuel Cocktail state. When other squad members hit enemies under the Scorched status, it triggers the Afterburn effect, expending 8 heat to deal fire damage equal to an unknown percent of Burnice's attack and accumulate fire anomaly buildup. This effect can trigger once every 1.5 seconds. Every 10 anomaly proficiency increases Afterburn damage by 1% up to a maximum of 30%. Damage from the Afterburn effect is considered assist attack damage. Her additional ability plays into her off-field damage as well. It becomes available when another character in your squad is an anomaly character or shares the same faction. With it active, whenever Burnice's basic attack, Mixed Flame Blend, EX Special Attack, Intense Heat Stirring Method, or EX Special Attack, Intense Heat Stirring Method Double Shot hits an enemy, or when the Afterburn effect is triggered, the move's accumulated fire anomaly buildup increases by 65%. When any team member applies the burn effect to an enemy, the duration of that effect is extended by 3 seconds. She is really the only character capable of doing respectable amounts of off-field damage, which is something we haven't seen before. This means she can play well into many teams, but will tend to lean more heavily into anomaly or anomaly disorder teams. Because of this, she works well with Piper, her Sons of Caledon comrade, or Jane, or Grace. Simply put, once you apply the Afterburn effect to an enemy, you can swap to Jane and continue to do more damage. This would allow for consistent disorder procs and would reduce the complicated switching that is usually required for other teams. We also can't forget that Burnice is shipping with a new disc drive set called Chaos Jazz. This new disc set is tailor-made for Burnice with 2 pieces offering plus 30 anomaly proficiency. 4 pieces increase fire and electric damage by 15%, and while off-field, the damage caused by EX special attacks and assist attacks is increased by 20%. When the character switches back onto the field, this buff continues for 5 seconds. The lasting effect can be triggered once every 7.5 seconds. This new disc drive set is great for Burnice and will make her perfect for teams featuring Jane Doe. While she may not take the stage often, she will be running the show from the back lines. Let's get to the best teams. As discussed earlier, one of the best teams for Burnice is herself, Caesar, and Jane Doe. This is an anomaly disorder team with a very high damage floor and survivability foundation. However, it is not free to play friendly unless you have some insane luck. If you do, please give me some. The next best team would be Burnice, Jane Doe, and Seth. This is an anomaly disorder team, but possesses additional anomaly buffs via Seth's shield. This is a great team if you manage to get Seth from the prior banner and can utilize his great buffing potential and tankiness. The next team is Burning Rat Pigs with Burnice, Jane Doe, and Lucy. Lucy being on the team is a nice addition since she increases the damage output of the whole team. She is also capable of dealing off-field damage thanks to her adorable guard boars, allowing Jane to stay on the field for longer without having to switch out. Lastly, we have the Burning Pig Spinner with Burnice, Lucy, and Piper. This is a full Sons of Caledon team, and while it might seem underwhelming, it really isn't. Piper takes the place of Jane Doe and can dish out great damage with Burnice's Afterburn effect. Lucy, as already mentioned, grants great damage buffs for the whole team. Now the downsides. Remember when I made the comparison that Caesar is a generalist? Well, the opposite is true for Burnice. She specializes in anomaly comps and not much otherwise, so she is a vertical investment. If you have Jane Doe or Grace and are heavily invested into them, pulling for Burnice is a no-brainer. However, if you didn't, you wouldn't add much value to your account by pulling for her. You really have to consider what you have at the moment or what you will have down the line to pull for her. She won't be bad in other team comps that you may have, but she won't be able to shine since she would be out of her element, unlike Caesar, who can do anything fairly well. Finally, let's discuss some banner considerations. Caesar is accompanied by Anton and Piper, both of which are characters that I do not find all too interesting. Anton feels a bit weak in comparison to other A-rank characters, and Piper is just a weaker Jane Doe. In other words, they are lackluster in terms of DPS, and there are better options. Hoyoverse did have to balance out the banner somehow since Caesar herself is just busted. Burnice, on the other hand, is accompanied by Nicole and Lucy, which are both some of the best supports in the game. Nicole has great grouping abilities with her EX special attack and can shred the defense of enemies. Lucy provides nice buffs for the team by increasing their attack stat. Burnice's banner is definitely nice to pull for since you will be getting good characters regardless of whether it is Burnice or not. Personally, I will be trying to pull for both characters if possible, since I am trying to create more content for you guys. My wallet might hate me, but my friends will hate me even more. When it comes down to it, pull for who you want, who looks cool, or whatever your heart fancies. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any comments, please let me know. As always, thank you for watching, and happy farming/pulling. Stay safe.